to Japan Snowboarder, Season 2, Episode 5. The aim of this show is to help you find the right paddleboard for hitting the mountains of Japan. And today, I'm excited to do the review on the Bataleon Surfer. This is the limited edition. So sit back, grab a drink, and enjoy the show. If you want to see more episodes like this, make sure you subscribe. And if you're thinking about coming to Japan next winter, check us out at FuranoSnowTours.com. Dates are finally out for our Japan Snowboarder Furano Central Hokkaido tour. So check out the info down below in the descriptions or go to our website. On the tour, we'll be shredding the mountains of Furano and 4 other mountains in the Central Hokkaido region. We'll be going to some of my favourite restaurants in town, and we'll also be going to some of the hot springs in this area. So for a total Japan snowboard adventure, jump on tour. Also, to have more fun on tour, you can rent this board and many other boards which I have featured in the Japan Snowboarder channel. Okay, so let's talk about the Bataleon Surfer. What I like about the Bataleon snowboards are the triple base technology which they have in their powder boards. Bataleon is one snowboard brand which has probably been the leader in 3D snowboards for more than 18 years. I was super excited to get on this board as I have been riding the Bataleon Camel Toe White Gold Shaka for many years, and the swallowtail really interested me. So during the season I got to ride this board at Asahi Dake, which is a backcountry mountain with slightly heavier powder, and I also got to ride it in Furano in super light powder, and also in Furano where the powder is a little bit wind packed and heavy, to get the full range of how this board goes in the powder. With the Bataleon Surfer Limited, it means there's a limited amount of these boards around the world. For example, with this board, there's 150 boards all around, and looking at the number, this board is number 95. With the limited edition, it's got more tech in the board, which you can check out on their website to get further detail. This board comes in 154 and a 159, which is this board, and with the newer model, there is a 162 and also a shorter one possibly, maybe a 149. Okay, so looking at the shape, as you can see, it's got a crazy wide square nose, and at the back end it's got this super crazy deep swallowtail. With the super wide nose, it gives this board excellent float, and with this crazy deep swallowtail, it really helps to sink that tail, giving lift in the nose. The amazing thing with the swallowtail, you can ride this board very centered without leaning back in the powder. When we look at this board side on, this board has a camber profile from here to here, with the contact point from here to here, all the way out to the tail, and the camber profile, this board carves really well. I also noticed that they put a camber profile just in the uplift of the nose here. I think that was probably to resolve the issues which the camel toe had with the nose sliding out, where this will probably give it greater grip when you're doing those big wide turns, or also when you're traversing across the mountain. If we run our hands along the nose, you'll definitely feel that triple base technology. With the triple base technology in the nose, it pushes the snow out to the side, giving you lift in the nose, and it also helps with smooth turns in the powder, as the edges of the nose doesn't catch and drag as you turn from side to side. They do have an uplift in the tips of the swallowtail, which you can see when we run a ruler over it. This gives it really good turning initiation in the powder when you're going from one edge to the next to make quick, sharp turns in the tight trees. The flex rating for this board is a 4 out of 10. 1 being super soft and 10 being really stiff. It's got a really good playful flex to it, which is the reason why it makes it easy to turn in the tighter trees. Even though the overall flex of this board's a 4 out of 10, the actual tips of the swallowtail are really stiff, maybe like a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8, which is where it gets all its drive and power from. So with the tail, it's got some carbon tubes along here, and it also has some carbon strips through the swallowtail, which gives this its stiffness and power. Another thing I like about this board is that it's got carbon tubes running along the middle here, a little one towards the back, and also a shorter one closer to the nose. For the snowboarders who also play golf, you'll probably know that when you do swing the carbon golf club back, it does flex back, but then it has flex memory where the golf club swings back, giving you extra drive as you hit the golf ball. We call that flex memory in the golf club. And I feel like with the snowboard as well, or surfboards, when you get that spring in the board, but then the board springs back, giving you extra power and drive, it's got nice flex memory. And I feel like this board has excellent flex memory. Okay, so let's talk about how this board goes in the snow. So my thoughts in powder, that I found this board super easy to ride. Even though it looks like a crazy shape, I was surprised how easy it was to ride in powder. I didn't need time to get used to riding this board at all. The turns are super smooth in the super light powder, and the nose is always above the powder. Probably see that my stance, I don't have to lean back all that way back to keep the nose above the powder. With that swallowtail, it just sinks nicely. In the tight trees, as I said earlier, I found it really easy to turn and zippy in the tight trees, which amazed me. Could be due to the uplift in the tail, and I think with the swallowtail as well, kind of acts like a surfboard fin in the powder. It gives a good pivot off that swallowtail. I didn't buy this board for carving, but when carving on the groomers, I was super impressed on how well this board carves. The nose, even with the triple base technology, it holds, and with the tail, it's got some good drive out of your turns. First day in Furano, it dumped a lot of snow, and my friend and I were super psyched about how good the powder was going to be. Unfortunately that day, the powder wasn't what we expected. We had high expectation, but the actual snow was quite heavy and wind packed. So where the winds compressed the snow up the mountain. On that day, I did find a downside to having a square nose on a powder board. I was going to hit the powder on the side of the piste, which is about 1.5 foot high of new powder, which is slightly danced and compressed. The nose dug into the powder, and with that square nose, that surface area, it actually caught, throwing my balance off a little. Also on that day, I decided to launch off the piste into waist deep powder. What happened is as I landed and the board sunk, with the square nose, it actually caught again and it flipped me right over. I felt like that if this board had a pointy nose, I would have cut through it instead of catching. Having said all that, that was after a big storm where we got a lot of snow and the snow was wind packed. I found that this board excelled in deep powder, in open terrain, and also in the tight trees. And with this nose, it has so much float, and even on the gentle gradients, this board just glides through it nicely without getting bogged down like other boards. So I recommend the Bataleon Surfer to intermediate to expert powder people. I feel like this board, even though with the crazy shape, it was super easy to ride. With the big swallowtail in this board, I recommend riding this board for the super deep powder days. If the powder's not that deep, I'd probably take out my Bataleon Camel 2, which I got this year, which is also a sweet ride. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed and got a lot out of this episode of the Bataleon Surfer Limited. If you want to see more episodes like this, make sure you subscribe And if you like this video, please give it the thumbs up. That really helps. And if you want to leave a comment, please do so down below. And until next time, mata ne.
Welcome to 1984. The oligarchy is trying to open the door.